Alright, good afternoon everybody. It's your boy Akeen and welcome to today's blog. The New England Patriots control the 29th pick of this year's NFL draft. Now they came off a good season, had a good playoff run losing to the AFC champion Denver Broncos, winning the AFC East division. And once again, it is not a surprise to me. I am not tired of seeing this team win the AFC East, representing out of Massachusetts. I got to root for my Patriots. Now let's talk things about this particular team and what they should go with their first pick of this year's draft. Now, most people are really talking about them selecting a D lineman for this one, particularly defensive tackle, because Vince Wilfork actually no longer wants to be part of the team, which is a surprise to me because this team can make it to the Super Bowl. They have a lot of talent, and don't forget, you have Tom Brady at quarterback. Pretty boy himself. He's a great quarterback. He's definitely going to be a future Hall of Famer in the National Football League. Now, I think this team could get back to the playoffs, possibly make it to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a tough run this upcoming season because there's a lot of teams that are hungry out there. Now, going back to the defensive side, they're looking at a defensive tackle or a defensive end with this first pick, but they should also start thinking about looking at a linebacker to go along with Dante Hightower as well as Jared Mayo and possibly a safety. I think they could start looking for a safety in this year's draft. Now, they do have Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung, but Patrick Chung hasn't really been playing too well in coverage. He did have 59 tackles last season. Now, offensively, they're going to really need a true workhorse at running back in running the football. Now, Stephen Ridley, he had a little bit of a down year compared to what he did back in 2012 where he rushed for over 1,000 yards. He did lead the team in rushing with just under 800 yards rushing last season, 4.3 yards per carry. He's still a good running back, but he was a little bit of disappointment in fantasy football-wise. So they could probably look for a workhorse running back for this team. But let's not forget about Shane Vereen. He had a good season, but they no longer have LeGarrette Blount. So we're going to really wonder who's going to get the bulk of the carries. It's most likely going to be Stephen Ridley, but Shane Vereen is going to get his touches, particularly being used more as an all-purpose back, receiving the football outside the backfield. Now, they could also use a good top-notch receiver because a couple of the players that they have, like Aaron Dobson and Danny Amendola, they've been kind of a little bit disappointing to me. Now, Aaron Dobson's actually coming towards his second season, and last season, the leading receiver was Julian Edelman, just over 1,000 yards and 105 catches last season. He's a great slot receiver, but not the true number one guy that you want for this team. And I think they needed one of these young players to step it up, either Tompkins or Dobson and Danny Amendola. Somebody of these players needs to step it up. I know Julian Edelman is a good player, and he does deserve that well-deserved contract, but he is not a number one receiver. That's just my personal opinion, and I'm sticking with it, but he's an excellent number two slot receiver for this team, and the number one guy is going to have to step it up this year unless Tom Brady and company is going to need to start picking up a new receiver who could be that number one guy to complement Julian Edelman or whoever else is on this team. So that's particularly what they could use on the offensive side. Now, I'm going to go back to the defensive side and what they should do with this selection. Now, they were 30th in the league in rushing yards allowed, and that's why people are starting to say that they should go with a defensive tackle or a defensive end. But I'm a little bit skeptical with this one because they have a lot of young players who I think who can probably work their way to become great players. Now, Chris Jones had 6 sacks last season, and along with Chandler Jones, who had 11 and a half, and Rob Neminovich it's actually had 8 sacks last season. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but it has some good defensive linemen who could definitely get behind the line of scrimmage, but they just need to disrupt the line of scrimmage as far as run blocking, dealing with run blocking schemes and blocking the run. I still think they have some good talented players around them who could work well in the rotation. And let's not forget about Vince Wilfork. If he's still a pro bowler, an all-pro caliber player, he still has a lot left in the tank, even though he's entering his 11th season. But this is going to be a tough pick because he does no longer want to be part of the team and is having a hard time with the organization. So I understand why people think that they should go with defensive tackle with this particular one, and I'm actually going to stick with it because of the news of Vince Wilfork. But if he still decided to be on the team and wants to be part of the squad, I don't think they should go with defensive tackle. Possibly they could probably go with a skill player or a safety and reach for a safety in this particular second just to help out the secondary, and they do have some young talented players on the secondary, but I still think they need some slot spots to fill at safety, even though Devin McCourty had a decent season. But for this pick, as of today, I'm going to go with a defensive tackle / defensive end for Notre Dame, Steven Tuitt. I think he's a great player. He can play both defensive tackle as well as the defensive end. Very good, versatile athlete. I think he'll become a good addition and a rotation for that D lineman and hopefully hold up some yardage and rushing yards gained against offenses. I think that he could be a good addition to help stop the run and control the line of scrimmage. I think this will be a good pick. But who I think they will select with this one is Rashid Hageman out of Minnesota. He's a talented player, big, strong player, 310 pounds, to even complement the 309-pound on defensive tackle Chris Jones. I think these two players can work well together, and I do see why the New England Patriots probably will go with Rashid Hageman. But as for me, I think they're going to go with Steven Tuitt because I have Hageman gone to the New Orleans Saints. So I'm going to have to go with Tuitt from Notre Dame, but who I think they will select, Rashid Hageman out of Minnesota. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is tomorrow to talk about pick 30 of this year's draft belonging to my San Francisco 49ers. Thank you for watching today's blog. From Pro Football Exclusive, I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.